Yeah, SurveyMonkey wasn't designed for the CHR. They weren't designed with the CHR in mind.
For anonymous surveys.
It'll work. Oh, for anonymous surveys, yeah. I think that you can use SurveyMonkey for anonymous surveys, and you can get those through the CHR. You can get those approved through the CHR. I don't know the details of what you have to do in order to get them through, but I'm sure SurveyMonkey is happy to support blinding you from that as long as you pay them a little extra money. Okay. There's no audit trail in SurveyMonkey. The skip logic is limited. You can't upload data into SurveyMonkey like we did with the Baby 2007 file in Lab 2. You pretty much have to key the data in. And there's no subject or exam list. We talked about that. And no online calculations in SurveyMonkey. However, there are advantages. Those forms are really nice. They're easy to create. I created that data collection form for the infant jaundice study very quickly, 20 minutes maybe. It's hosted, it's very inexpensive, and it is great when you have an anonymous survey or a survey that you want to send out by email to people. You want to send them a link. And a lot of you haven't used SurveyMonkey for your research, but almost every one of you has filled out a form that was developed using SurveyMonkey or some other online survey form. For example, the course evaluation forms are all online forms. They weren't developed using SurveyMonkey. They were developed using the eValue system.
What kind of analysis is possible with SurveyMonkey, and can you export data from SurveyMonkey?
Yeah, I was going to demo that, and then I had this connection problem, which is really irritating. Because like I said, I did it like 5 times last night, but I kind of knew this was going to happen. For some reason, when I'm working here, all right, let me show you. I may be able to get to it. Is if you go to Analyze Results, okay, and then you go to Download Responses, and then you can download all the responses coded, and then you can download them into a spreadsheet format, and then you can send it to your email address or get it online, and then you've got basically a CSV file that you can pull into. Now, what would I do? I would pull it into Access. I would do all my stuff in Access, get the query all set up, and then cut and paste into Stata. That's what I would do. If you're really much more comfortable with Stata than with Access, you can just upload it directly into Stata and then do your data manipulation in Stata. Okay. So you can do that, and I was actually going to demo that not with SurveyMonkey, but with Question. So I'm going to make an effort with Question with this current thing so that I don't have to change what I'm displaying. But I'm going to say goodbye to SurveyMonkey for now. So log off SurveyMonkey. This is also a good real-life demonstration of why using web-based stuff can get you into trouble, too. Okay, so let's do Question. Okay, so now with the last 15 minutes of this course, I am going to try to duplicate the whole course, labs 1, 2, and 3, okay, in 15 minutes, but I'm at the same time going to demonstrate how you would use Question as a data collection system. And I'm using Question as an example of a web-based research data collection platform. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. I think anybody following on this who hasn't done the 3 labs is going to get lost. But those, you guys have all done the 3 labs, so you'll be able to follow this. It's all the same data that you're familiar with. All right, so let's see if I can do it. All right, let's start by going to Question. The Question databases are at studydata.net. Okay, I think we may have to switch to this. Maybe not. Well, we'll give it a try. Okay. So I log on to Question. And one of the nice things about Question relative to to SurveyMonkey is that there are different user roles. So I'm an administrator on the Jiffy study. So I can get, I can do pretty much anything in here. I can get users, but there are different user roles that you could have. So here's the subject list, and you've got Robert's data in your PowerPoint presentation. So now I go to Robert, okay, and here's Robert's demographics. Here's some educational background for Robert's parents. I can go look at Robert's exams, okay, and Robert, if you'll recall, had only one exam. It was by David Satcher. So we can go into that exam information, and so let's say we found out that Robert actually had an IQ of 204. Okay, so I'll do that, and I'll say, changed for demo. Okay, and then I can save that record. And one of the nice things is all of these, except for SurveyMonkey, all of these web-based platforms have an audit history. Okay, so now I can go back and see what the history is of that record, Robert's exam record. And you can see that today at 10:03, M. Cohn changed 104 to 204 for purposes of demonstration. Okay, so you've got all the record of all of your changes that you've made to that record. Okay. So you can see the data entry works online, very similar to the way it worked in your labs. And you could enter data on any of these subjects. I could enter a new subject and so forth. I'm not going to, actually I should change Robert back. The reason is, otherwise that'll mess up the data, right? I don't want to leave Robert with an IQ of 204. So I'm going to go back to Robert, and change his IQ back to 104, and save that. And now if I went back into the audit trail, you'd see that his record got changed back to 104. Okay, so now we've got all the data entered here, and we're pretty much done with Question at this point. We've used Question as our data collection system. We've had our examiners enter their data into Question, or maybe our examiners entered their data on paper forms and then somebody transcribed them into Question. And you can use it for double data entry if you're going to use collect to paper first and then transcribe. We can talk a little more about, if you are transcribing off of paper, what to do about double data entry. But I'm going to leave that to make sure I get through this demo, okay? And then we get to Wendy's question, which is, okay, at this point, what do you do? And here's what I would do, okay, is I've got all my data collected using the nice web-based platform. Now I would go to an extract, and I created an extract. It's easy to do. I'd go to the Lab 3 extract. It's the same data that you did in Lab 3, okay, where you took the exam result data along with the patient's predictor status, which is jaundice. And what I'm going to do is view the data and put it into a CSV file for import into, and in my case, I'm going to import into Access, because that's my preference. I am not going to decode variables, and I'm not going to use, and these are things you learn to do very quickly. Which options to take when you're doing an extract, whether you're using SurveyMonkey or whether you're using Question. Okay, so these are the data, okay, and these data should look very familiar to you from Lab 3. This is all the exam data, right? But there are multiple exams per subject here. In fact, there are 690 rows returned. Okay, so now I'm going to download this file. So it creates a CSV file here. All right, and then I'm going to go into a blank Access database.